Okay, YouTube, I went and pulled this old solenoid block apart. I don't know if you can see in there, but it looks awfully rusty inside. Very red. So I think this valve is just rusted up inside, and that's why it doesn't actuate. So one thing I did was I wanted to test whether the electrical solenoid here, the black plastic piece, was bad. So I pulled this off of the two-way valve and put it on this one that buzzes. I think I was able to get this thing working again. What I did was took the valve apart and I soaked it in some of my citric acid descaling liquid, and then I added a little bit of dishwashing soap in there for a little better wetting action. And I soaked that in there for a couple hours this afternoon, and I think things are freed up. So here we go. So you can hear it's clicking now. So this one is what they call their 2/3-way valve. The citric acid started eating off the plating, so they must have like nickel plating on there. I put this in the vise and then put a big crescent wrench, and I was able to get this top guy to break loose. And so there's the inside of the valve. So you can see, like right here, that's an open passage on that side. In the middle, there's a little tiny orifice there, and I can shove a wire down, and it goes down as far as that opening there in the side. Solenoid coil goes up here, and then here's the metal slug in the middle, and then in the bottom of that there's another orifice, and this slug has two rubber pads. There's one on the top and there's one on the bottom. So I guess the way this works, there's a spring right there. So that spring holds the plunger down against that and seals that off. And this opening would be open. When the solenoid is activated, this thing pulls up. I'll show you that with some magnets there. So you can see if it goes up, that's held in place now. So this opening in here is sealed off. So I've got the magnets on there, and then you turn off the solenoid and the spring pops out, and that opens that port, and then the spring closes the port on the bottom. There's this kind of orangey color. I don't know if that's rust or what it is, but I'm not sure where that could come from. There was enough rust up inside of this part that this wasn't moving. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe soak this some more and get the inside cleaned out. Looks like it's a brass nut, and then they press the steel, because you can see that's magnetic. This part isn't, and let's see what the body, yeah, this isn't. This must be brass. So that's brass, and then this guy is steel. So this is the Olab two-way valve, or basically it's just on-off. And let's see, this is the side that connects to the diffuser, which is shown with the out arrow. And then this is the other side in the middle between the two valves. And this one looks like it's got some, I don't know if that's coffee grounds in there. It's really hard to see. Something that looks like a dark granular deposit in there. What I was going to do is I put my stack of magnets on there, and that opens this valve. You can hear it click shut. Yeah, and on this particular valve, I don't think there's any way to open it up. This is all sealed up here, your threads. This is, I think, steel up here, or probably stainless steel. The bottom is brass. It's not magnetic at all. The screws are just very slightly magnetic. But this top part, this part here, I imagine is a magnetic stainless. I think the only way to get this open and clean inside is I'm going to put the magnets on there. So I think I'm going to soak that in here for a while. But I figure, while I've got it all apart, throw this one in the cleaner. So I did the same thing with this solenoid. I dropped it in here, although this one I can take apart. Yeah, so I imagine this other valve is just like this inside. It's got the little opening there the plunger goes down, either plugs that or lets it open, but it probably has a plunger just like this. So I think that's about all you can do with these things as far as rebuilding them or cleaning them. There's just that one moving part inside. As long as that moves, with this one, about all you can do is submerge it in some cleaner like that. Maybe if you have an ultrasonic cleaner, you might be able to do a little better job with that. I think that valve came out pretty clean. Whatever was in there is gone. So I think that one's working. So let me put this all back together. So there was the arrow that points out to the diffuser. They give you a flow direction, but I don't think it really matters because I think the water enters from this side. The bottom of the pump comes up from the water tank, and then it goes over into that diffuser, which looks kind of like a clear plastic box. And then that hose comes into here, and then this goes over to the T fitting that's between the two valves. So I think this is the main valve that lets the pump water come into the machine. Yeah, so we got these back together. So the little mark on this valve, this is the 2/3-way valve. That's facing out with the solenoid contact. Let's see how this one works here. So I've got it plugged in. Sounds good, no buzzing. So let's try the other one here. It's got the hose that goes over to the diffuser and then the little plastic fitting on that side. And got the coil back on top. Nice solid click. So this is the way these two valves sit. This valve is either on or off. If it's off, no water gets through. If it's on, water comes through. So this T-fitting would be in here in the middle. So I guess if water comes through, then it can go up the vertical off of the T-fitting there. And I believe that one goes up into the boiler element, or the thermal block, I think is what they call it in the Barista Express. And then this other valve is hooked onto the other side here. So this port goes up to the steam hot water valve. I think that's that flow. And then I think this goes up to the thermal block as well. Yeah, when this valve is on, you can have flow between these two ports. When it's off, you get flow between these two ports. But yeah, if anyone knows any good references that shows which valve does what and where the water goes and where it comes back, and that would be kind of interesting. But it's possible to repair these. Would you want to? I guess if $60 is a big deal and you don't want to spend any money, give it a try. You can probably get these working again. The other option is you can buy replacement solenoids, but they're roughly $40 each. And if you don't know which one is bad, you're going to pay more than $60 for two solenoids. So I would probably go with the new one. So I'm putting the last pieces of this solenoid block back together. So when I was putting the new solenoid block back into the Barista Express, I had a little bit of trouble with these little O-rings that go in here. So I made up this little tool to make this O-ring installation easier. So I had a piece of plastic and I turned this in my lathe. This diameter here is roughly the outer diameter of the O-ring, about 7 millimeters. Stud on the end is just a little bit smaller than the inner diameter of the O-ring. This is maybe 3.5 millimeters, 1/8 inch. So now you just shove it in straight, put it on the end, shove it in, and it's there. Yeah, so here's this end, and that one goes in there. Yeah, so that one clips in there, slide it on. These are a lot easier to get the clips in than the hoses. With these, you just shove these in. So if you can see daylight right back through here, you can shove the little clip in, and there you are. So that's all put together. The two-way valve has two inline screws, and the three-way valve has diagonal screws. So there I screwed the two solenoids in, and then the last step is I have this right angle piece with the O-ring inside. I'll slide that on and clip in. There we go, all back together. Here's my fully functional original solenoid block. I'm just going to keep this, and I'll keep my little O-ring tool, slide that in here. I'll keep this along with the part number of the one that I received as my replacement. So I guess they call it a solenoid valve assembly. And there's the Breville part number if you want to order it from Breville. I'm not sure if you can order this from Breville directly. I didn't see it on their online store. You may be able to call them and special order it, but I figure I'm going to keep the old one because this has 3 spare O-rings, it's got clips, it's got these fittings if you were to break one or something in the future. And I think all of those are interchangeable. The solenoid coils, if you burn one of the new ones up, you could take one of these off and put it on the other one. I'm not sure what the root cause of this buzzing problem is, whether it's related to these Olab solenoids. Yeah, I'm sure these are good solenoids. I'm just not sure what the root cause of the problem. Are they installed wrong? This is the inlet water, and the arrow on the solenoid is pointing that way. I don't know if that's on purpose or is that part of the problem. Again, there's a bunch of differences, different solenoid coils, different pressure ratings, different brand. There's something different here, and I'm not sure what the root cause of this problem was. But anyway, I think I've got these things refurbished to the point that they would work again if I were to put them back in. I'm going to keep this in my drawer in the kitchen with all the manuals and everything for spare parts if I ever need anything. I think I'll call this project done. If you have any questions, post up in the comments section below. And if you've received any of these new solenoid valve assemblies or solenoid blocks, go ahead and post up in the comments section below and let me know what brand solenoids you received when you ordered your replacement valves. If they've changed brands, I imagine at some point they've also changed what they're putting in new machines. So if you have a newer machine that you've looked inside, if you see these all metal valves, you probably have the Olab parts. If yours have plastic here, you probably have the new Cheme solenoids. Yeah, so if you've opened up the back of your machine, looked inside, and noted which kind of solenoids you have, also post that up. It'd be interesting to find out if and when they switched brands. But anyway, I'll put other repair videos over here on the left side. And as always, thanks for watching.